For example, girls tend to mature faster than boys in some respects, both physical and emotional and intellectual. So part of it is about different developmental trajectories. And then there are more enduring differences, things such as whether people like to use inductive styles of reasoning or deductive styles, so kind of logic and reasoning. That tends to favor, boys tend to favor that style, and girls tend to favor more of the experience-based learning. Active versus passive. Do you sit down and listen, or do you get up and move around? So boys get up and like to move around, or girls like to sit and listen more. What researchers are finding is that these are tendencies, so they're average differences across groups. So to use an example that's more biological is one of height. So we know that on average, males are taller than females. But we know, of course, there are lots of tall women and lots of short men. So the distributions overlap quite a bit. And even with things like hearing, vision, learning styles, these are really tendencies, things that differ across the two groups rather than essential differences. There's some students, some teachers, some families that are going to do really well in this kind of single-sex environment, and that's fine. We don't want to undermine their success, but to think that it's again a one-size-fits-all solution that's going to fit every particular group well, I think that's a bit beyond what the data would suggest is viable. Well, I would say that an even better approach would be to figure out how each individual child is suited in terms of their prior knowledge that they bring to the classroom, their particular strengths or limitations, and then decide what's best in terms of the instruction, in terms of the curriculum that the student can then receive in the classroom. To me, figuring out what the individual child needs, regardless of gender, seems to make a lot more sense. We know that, for example, kids from more affluent backgrounds tend to do better in school, and one of the reasons why is because their home environments are really enriched intellectually, culturally, and it tends to fit well with the school environment. I think if we want to help those kids who are disadvantaged catch up, we need to provide more learning opportunities for them, and that may mean more time in school, a longer school day. It may mean more time in school, for example, during the summer. Year-round schooling for certain types of kids. It may mean more individual time with teachers. And generally what we found is that the results are generally neutral. There's no effect on achievement, or they're slightly positive, small gains. That's generally what we find. So no harm on the academic or intellectual side. The social side, is it healthy to segregate any group from another? I don't know. That's one that hasn't been studied as well, and it's certainly, I would say, a concern.